Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. And today I'll be reading a multi-character listener by me. So let's get into it. Kazuha. Kazuha was used to having normal days where you're affectionate together, being close and all, but this? He simply did not see this coming anytime soon, or at all, to be quite honest. So when he's just sitting peacefully, reading a book, he does not expect you to call him daddy out of nowhere. And it's no surprise that he drops the book out of his hands and stares at you with wide eyes, a bright blush in his cheeks. What? Could you repeat that, please? And once he repeated it again, he was staring with even wider eyes. It was pretty funny to see him looking at you like that. But then he cleared his throat, trying his absolute best to control himself. Well, I think we need to talk about a few things here. Oh? Like what, Daddy? Oh my god, please stop. Albedo. Albedo was peacefully trying to finish his research paper and read it thoroughly until you had just come into his office. And no, not the one in Dragonspine, but he just has an office room at his own home. He tends to overwork, and he loves to work peacefully. But it happens every so often that you come to disturb him, and not in a way that he hates. But this was totally out of the blue. Because he was sitting there, and out of nowhere, you had decided to whisper that word into his ear. Poor Albedo was so stunned while he was taking that sip of his coffee that he ended up spitting it out and dissolving into a coughing fit. You had to keep patting his back until he stopped. But then, after using a tissue to wipe off the coffee from his mouth, he smirked, kissing your cheek. Yeah? What do you want from your daddy then? Oh, this was going to take a very bad turn. But you were the one who initiated this turn of events. Venti. Venti had zero idea what you were talking about. When you called him daddy, his first reaction was to laugh. And honestly, it wasn't a bad reaction, though it's not the one that you wanted. But it then appeared that Venti was pretty clueless on the context of being called daddy and what it means. He really just thought it was an honest mistake. And it's kind of funny to consider, and adorable, because no matter how old he is, and how much he's seen, there really were some things that Venti didn't even know. And once you explained the context to him, he was just staring at you, completely wearied out, and blushing. But still, it did not totally click in his head, because he just didn't get it. He really is old sometimes, and though it does not usually show, it appears that this would be one of the instances that you realize just how old Venti is, and how modern things can still seem a little bit weird for him. Scaramouche. Do not ask where he's learned this. He just knows, and he found out by complete accident. He didn't even want context on why people called each other that. But once he found out, he pretended he didn't know. And hopefully, he would not be faced with that knowledge again. Right? No, it appears not. Because as he was doing literally nothing and going on about his day as any normal person would, he called him daddy out of nowhere. And there he was, freezing in place and blushing so bright that it went all the way up to his ears. You're getting kind of concerned now, so you broke out of the act and asked him what's wrong. But then, he just looked at you, dead serious, even though he was blushing still. Don't, don't call me that again, he said, stuttering and trying his absolute best to get the words out correctly so you wouldn't tease him. And you had to do your best not to laugh, nodding. Sure thing, I won't, if that's what you want. Tighnari, he actually knows what you're going on about. So when you do call him daddy, he's staring at you, a little bit caught off guard, with a slight blush on his cheeks. But then, he's quick to recover, looking at you and smirking. What do you want, baby? Yep, Tighnari was not one to back down, and things were about to take a very different turn. Because the next thing you knew, he had his arms wrapped around you and had you seated on his lap, and the two of you were bound to make out, and probably do a lot more, because with Tighnari, it never really just ended at making out. It simply just couldn't. Xiao, much like Venti, he had absolutely zero idea what you meant when calling him daddy. He was a little bit concerned, and he asked you if you were alright or if you had a fever. And slowly, as you explained the context, he began to freeze up and blush brightly, the blush getting brighter and brighter as you went on. And it was really funny watching the reaction. But then, he was looking at the floor, unable to meet your eyes. Wayan, did you really have to do this? What? It's not like I'm doing anything wrong. I love you. And I can call you that, can't I? It's strange, Wayan. And it's very embarrassing too, he said, pouting, and he stifled a giggle, leaning in to give him a soft kiss, wanting that pout to be wiped off his face. Oh, come on, Xiao. I just wanted to see a reaction. That's all. I knew you wouldn't be into this sort of thing. You're too old for it, you teased. But then you pouted even more, and you laughed then, giving him a kiss to make up for it, and telling him you were just teasing. And you already knew he wouldn't be into that sort of thing anyway, which comforted him greatly, because at least it meant that your expectations were not too high.